As in the women's match, which we can confirm now, the East Germans have won the World Cup, taking it from the European select team that won 2 years ago in Dusseldorf. The points are very, very close in the men's match. The Americans, the United States, started the day leading, with Europe back in third place. But points are very close, with the shot still to come. There's 5,000 meters, the long jump, and the last track event, the 4x400. Know how much the 10,000 took out of Yifter the other day. If you look at him closely, it's not difficult to believe that nobody can guess his right age. As we said the other night, shown on the computer at various events as anything between 32 and 38. It's David Fitzsimons, the Australian, taking the lead. Been in very good form on his European tour. He's 29, he's got a personal best that goes back 2 years of 13.17, but this year already he's clocked to 13.19. The fortunate thing, though, it looks a bit tactical here, is if no one really wants to take it on, and now we've got someone who does. Applauded by the crowd. Rodolfo Gomez from Mexico won the Americas trial and 5th in the 1977 World Cup 10,000 meters. He's the Pan Am 10,000 meter champion and was 3rd in the Pan Am 5,000. So Gomez leads, and Yifter in the usual place, following the pacemaker. 3rd is the tall figure of Matt Centrovitz, United States of America. 5,000 meters, 12.5 laps of the track. 4th is young Kunze, just out of the shot. And even Yifter, judging by the European Cup finishing speed of Kunze, can't risk letting it get too slow. First lap was 70 seconds, so they're on pace for about 13.32 if they keep it even.
Meanwhile, over on the far side, Debbie.
Laps to go in the 5,000 meters. The Mexican leads for the Americans. That's Gomez for the Americas. Yifter of Africa in 2nd place. Centrovitz, United States, 3rd. Kunze of East Germany, 4th. David Fitzsimons, Australia and Oceania, 5th. Marcus Riffel of Switzerland and Europe in 7th place. 6th place, rather. Saini, rather, of India is 7th. And Abramov, this very good Russian, right at the back. Coming round to complete 800. And that was a bit quicker. He speeded it up 3 seconds, 67 seconds. The reason for that, of course, was that very slow pace until Gomez took it up after about 100 meters. Abramov, the Russian at the back, everybody's got to respect him. He's 30 years old. And 13.15 this year, which is a Russian record. Fastest man in the world this year is not running for Africa. It's Niam Boui. He didn't take part in the African Championships, and the Africans decided to choose only runners who ran in their championships. Niam Boui of Tanzania, who's been operating recently so effectively in America. His world's best time this year is 13.12.3, and that is second only in history to Henry Rono's world record of 13.8.4. Rono, another athlete who didn't go back to Africa for their African Championships and therefore not selected. But what a replacement they've got with this fellow Yifter. One of the unlucky Africans, really, to miss out on the last Olympic Games because of the African boycott. He was 3rd in the Olympic 10,000 meters in Munich in 1972.
And I suppose we can assume that Gomez of Mexico is another athlete that benefits from living at altitude. Winner of the 10,000 meters in the Pan American Championship.
Just under 7 laps to go. Gomez leading for the Americas. Yifter, the African, in 2nd place. Centrovitz, United States, 3rd. Kunze, East Germany, in 4th place. Fitzsimons, Oceania and Australia, 5th. Riffel of Europe and Switzerland, 6th. Abramov now, the blonde Russian, going through from the back. He's been trailing at the back most of the way, and they've just completed 5 laps. So the Americas lead, Africa 2nd, United States 3rd. 4th, Eastern Germany. 5th, Oceania. 6th, Russia. 7th, Europe. And 8th, Asia. The pace is comparatively slow and nothing like the World Cup record set 2 years ago in Dusseldorf by the man who's in second place at the moment, Miruts, Yifter. The Indian moving through. Sainai, personal best, only just inside 14 minutes.
He stepped out on that. I was just going to say they're having problems around the world because of the drug testing program. I wouldn't want to point the finger at anyone individually, but they're up and down in their performance depending on how vigilant the host countries are.
Just over 4.5 laps to go in the 5,000 metres, and it's Riffle of Europe taking them on. He's certainly speeded quite a bit. The African Yifter in second place, Fitzsimons Australia, Oceania third, Abramov of Russia 4, Kunze East Germany 5, Centrovitz America 6, and in 7th place Gomez, the early leader for the Americas. The Indian Sainai has dropped way back as the pace was put in there by Riffle, this Swiss who's been in such good form over the last 2 seasons. The joint silver medalist in the European Championships in Prague last year, and twice in the last 2 years he's won the European Indoor 3,000 metre championship. Good finisher, but he obviously wasn't satisfied with the pace, and he wasn't in good form in a fast finish recently in Zurich, when in front of his home crowd he was ran back 7th or 8th in the race won by Wessinghager from Yifter. So Riffle leads, looks to see who's there, and Yifter follows. Fitzsimons, this Australian, in 3rd place. 4th is Abramov. And Abramov, this blonde Russian, got good form over 1,500 metres as well, and led the Russian 1,500 metre rankings last year with a 3:37. With little or no form over 5,000 metres until this year, and clearly he's one of their big men they're building up for the games next year. That's Abramov, in the red vest of Russia, wearing number 211. The problem is, though, that the race was so tactical and slow in the early stages, it's not a true test. 66 seconds for the last lap. And really, they're on around a 14-minute schedule at the moment. 3 laps to go. And by East Germany. Kunz is a fast finisher, we know. Riffle's a fast finisher. He'll realise the importance of the points. And indeed, they've got the big scoreboard. They're facing it now, and they can see how close it is in terms of the match position. But of course, as well, we've still got to add in the long jump, and we've also got to add in the men's shot, plus the final track event, the 4x400. Riffle keeps having a look back. I don't think he's entirely comfortable as the pacemaker. It's not a role we've seen him take on very often. And the applause you can hear is not for the athletes on the track, but for Debbie Brill, who's just passing in front of the main stadium with the other girl high jumpers.
2 laps to go.
Centrovitz has just come through to pressurize Riffle. Matt Centrovitz used to be at the University of Oregon. He's shown good form this year. He's got a 13:21, and he's a 3:59 minor. But undoubtedly, it's going to be left for the fast finishers. 2.5 laps to go. And one wonders whether somebody will go from a long way out and really test them. And that somebody has answered straight away, Abramov of Russia. It's not just going to be the short sprint finish, the mad dash over the last 300, because Abramov now taking them on fairly quickly from a lap and 3/4 out. In fact, they had changed the lap marker there because the Indian was so far behind. They've got less than we thought to go, and this time it is the bell. Abramov leads for Russia. Yifter in second place. Third is Gomez of the Americas. Riffle of Europe fourth. Kunze, East Germany 5. Centrovitz, United States 6. And Fitzsimons lost for speed. Just over 300 to go. The Russian leads, and he's still tracked by the fast finishing African, Yifter. And Riffle goes up on the outside. There goes Yifter. And Yifter, the shifter, trying to do it once more. He did it in the 10,000, but now Abramov follows with 200 to go, and he's had to let him go. And the amazing pace of this African in his mid-30s has told the story once more. He waited, he looks easy, and he's coming home to complete a notable double. First the 10, and now the 5. So, maximum points for Yifter in Africa. Russia in second place. Europe third. East Germany fourth. Yifter wins. Abramov second. Riffle third. Kunze fourth. Gomez five. Centerid sixth. Oceania seventh through David Fitzsimons. And nearly a lap back, causing some confusion with the lap marker, is the Indian Sainay. The time at 13:35, so it goes to show how fast they were over the last 800. In fact, the last lap was run in 53 seconds. And that is quite astounding. And I suspect, seeing that Abramov took them from a lap and a half out, that the last 800 was probably inside 2 minutes.
Victory ceremony.
But who can afford to play games with this African? He's not going to make the pace for you. He's going to wait. He followed the pace in the 10,000. He's done it again in the 5. And his finishing speed is quite astonishing. Abramov second and Riffle third.
And there was some talk earlier, David, that there was going to be a presentation for the best individual in these championships. There's not much doubt as to who'll get it as far as the men are concerned, and I would think that their vote must go to Evelyn Ashford as far as the women are concerned. But this double-double in World Cup athletics to Miruts Yifter is a really tremendous performance.
Of course, he won this World Cup 2 years ago in Dusseldorf. And one can only wonder what he might have done in the Olympic Games. Abramov had made the break, but there was no way he could get away. Riffle here for a moment. Had Yifter boxed if he got outside him, but this African knows so much about the job, he wasn't going to let Riffle come up to his shoulder and close him in behind the Russian. So he burst through the two, and he certainly got the speed. Well, as you get older, they say you get stronger and more mature and can run longer distances, and you lose your basic speed. But here's a man in his mid-30s, we'll put it at its best, whose basic speed is really quite remarkable. And what can even the Virens and the Fosters do about him next year? Because the problem is getting rid of him. And yet, having said that, Wessinghager in the Zurich 5000 took him on the last lap and beat him. But that's not going to happen very often.